Hello, everyone. It's Jimmy V Live, episode 3. Jimmy Vigilante here, and I promised you guys outrageous guests, and we're gonna have them. And the biggest one we're gonna have um, actually doesn't take away from anybody else because our first guest, Eric Snyder, was phenomenal. Jennifer Lasala was great, and there's a connection with Jennifer and our next guest, which is going to be great. And before I do anything, I want to bring in my co-host here, Mr. Mark Steele.
Jimmy,
And
what's
how you
going on,
doing,
man?
sir?
I'm doing awesome. How's it going? All right.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
I
I'm
love
doing
that. I
great.
love the theme music, man.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I want to hear it again.
You got to give that to Steve. That's
Yeah,
my
all right,
son,
okay.
you know. And he says every season we're going to do a new one. I said no problem, no problem. You got it made. You've got it made. One thing I do want to touch on though, Mark,
Sure.
and I think that you're going to agree with me on this,
Mhm.
okay? And it actually hits home for everybody in our industry.
Mhm.
You know, there's been a lot of things, and I'm not a political guy, and you know that, but there's a lot of things that are affecting our industry right now.
Mhm.
We see in the industry that there's a lot of establishments that are not quite adhering to the regulations that are set forth by the CDC, and I understand that regardless if it's our accounts or not, there are people that are doing great, and there are
Mhm.
people that are actually doing phenomenal, but there are a few that aren't. And what I'm afraid of is, you know, the governor's supposed to speak tomorrow. I don't know if you know that.
Mhm.
5 o'clock, I believe it is. And I don't know. The rumors are mandatory masks. The rumors are extending it, whatever it is. I just want everyone to know that from my point of view, my advice is adhere to what's set forth. Okay. Proper hygienic practices is second to none. Follow the regulations, do your social distancing. Don't affect your brother. We all got to work at this together. We're almost there. We just got to stick to it. What are your thoughts on that, boss?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think always, and Jimmy, when you and I first started talking, reestablishing our connection once during this whole quarantine, one of the big topics that we always said was, the worst thing that can really happen is for us to open up, restock the restaurants, get the registers ringing again, get everyone nice and comfortable again, and then all of a sudden, get the casinos going, and then all of a sudden, basically everything falls off the table again. How's that going to affect everyone, not just here in Las Vegas, but it's simple. It's simple rules that really, at the end of the day, are not that hard. I know customers are dying at the bits to be able to get out, and they've been trapped up for 3 months, and they're ready to be around some action bars and have some fun. But at the end of the day, we have to be a good neighbor for each other, because there's also only so much that a restaurant can do, right, Jimmy, or a casino.
Correct.
It's got to be your co-neighbor, and making sure that everyone else is safe. And you might feel like your domain is safe, but you never know who the person is sitting next to you. They might have a mother at home that they're taking care of, or they might have some little kids, or they might have issues themselves. We need to take care of each other first and foremost before we have to go through this whole thing again.
Correct. And that's all. That's just the basic message. Everybody knows what they got to do. We do it right, and we'll all be back to normal again. But with that said, we've got a guest that actually is I don't even know how to explain. Okay, he's just a very good guy. Number one, a gentleman. He's excellent in this field of mixology. Those of you may know him, may not. I always say that, but he's the modern day mixologist, Tony ABOU-GANIM, and here he is. There he is. This guy, mask and all. What are you doing here? Mask? It's great.
Wash
buddy.
your hands. Wear your mask.
That's great.
I feel so much safer. Thank you.
My Count Chameleon Negroni mask equipped with mustache.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go. There you go. How you been, pal?
Oh, so good. So good. Blessed. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. And Mark, pleasure to be on the show with you. And
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to echo your wonderful words and totally agree. Be kind to one another. Let's look out for each other and get through this thing. And last thing we want is to get anyone else sick, set anything back. Let's just do what's right and wear our masks, wash our hands, be, courteous to others, and we'll get through this.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Of course, those of you who don't know, you guys already know out there that, of course, we have the Bellagio background. Of course, that's where we come from. Well, that's where I first met Tony. Okay. And his field was, hey, I'm a health inspector, like I mentioned before. I'm tunnel vision. I'm going to look what's right and what's wrong. This man was unique and I knew nothing about it. But when he used to do these different, courses, design things, I'd see things behind the scenes and I would listen and I would look like, hey, well, what is he doing? And it was like a whole different world that I never was exposed to. And it was like so wow to me, How about you, Mark? What, pretty much your field, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little bit of even my experience at Bellagio of where I really, I got hired at Bellagio and it was like this amazing experience. And all of a sudden you have the Macchione family and Steve Wynn running around like it's her mom and pa restaurant. And, you're exposed to all these things as a young age and things that you've never even thought of before, Jimmy. You never thought of, we just order a rum and Coke and call it a day, right? And now all of a sudden we have, some of the best people in the world right in our four walls, right next to our restaurants, making drinks and world-class drinks that are eventually becoming a brand and a worldwide phenomenon now. So it's just, you can't say any more than that. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So Tony, since the days Bellagio, before Bellagio, say what you need to say, bro, because you're just a phenomenal guest. And, Jennifer was on, Jennifer LaSala Holly was on last week. She just gave you so many accolades, so many, pumps up because she's just a great lady. And I know you know her from back in the day.
She is fantastic. I love Jennifer. And what a great example of someone who just really committed themselves. They're passionate. Their journey that they've been on. When I met her, she was a hostess at Petrosian and just came to all of our seminars and classes and wanted to learn and wanted to improve herself. And I mean, she's amazing. I love Jennifer to death. And thank you for your kind words. But, talking about the Bellagio, 1998, I moved here from San Francisco and, really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And the idea of a fresh cocktail program was still really new, and especially here in Las Vegas. We had been doing it in San Francisco at the Starlight Room and working with Harry Denton. And one of the first fresh drinks that I did was the Primo Margarita, which I brought to the Bellagio. And since we're going to be together for the next half an hour, I just thought I would make one for everybody watching. And this is a recipe that I started back in San Francisco in 1995. Still the recipe served today at the Bellagio. And it starts with citrus. And I like to use both lemon and lime in my citrus. So I've got fresh squeezed lemon juice here, which I'm going to sweeten with agave nectar. All right. So that's going to be our first sweetener. So we're just going to go ahead and pour 2 ounces of our sweetened lemon juice into the mixing glass. And I also love lime. So I've got a beautiful 220 Persian lime here, which I always insist on hand extracting the freshest possible juice. When we open Bellagio, Jimmy, well, you know this, getting 200 lime squeezers in the bartender's hands, and every margarita, every cosmopolitan, every daiquiri squeezed a la minute. They thought I was crazy until they saw the guest's reaction. All right, now to sweeten the lime juice, we're going to use Cointreau. And since we use a 1-to-1 ratio, I've got 1 ounce of lime juice. We're going to add 1 ounce of our Cointreau. Oh, you guys getting thirsty yet?
Yeah, this is awesome. I said, Tony, you're my type of guy. You talk for about 15 seconds. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. We need to have a drink right away. This is how we're starting off.
It's time for a cocktail.
Yeah.
Now you can choose your favorite tequila. I always like to use a silver tequila. All I ask is you make sure it's 100% agave tequila. So I'm going to use the Patron Silver here. My 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts tequila, 1 part Cointreau. So 2 ounces. We'll fill up our mixing glass with some beautiful, hard, dry, cold cubes. Ice is so crucially important in every cocktail you make. All right, get that about 2/3 of the way full. Now, another little tip. You never want to serve the drink over the same ice that you mix the drink on, because we've already broken that dry ice. We've started the dilution. So to maintain the integrity of the drink, serve it over beautiful, hard, cold, dry ice. All right, drink goes into the tin. Make our seal. Good shake. Can you play a little Jimmy Buffett? A little Margaritaville? All right, pour that out. Beautiful. Ah, ha, ha. I bet you guys wish you had taste division.
There you go.
Simple lime wedge for garnish. Mark, Jimmy V, here's happiness.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable, man. That is phenomenal.
Oh, back up and kiss myself. That's so good.
So Tony, how much were we charging for these drinks whenever the Bellagio first opened up?
Oh, Mark, I remember sitting at a table with the VP and senior VP of beverage, and we were going around, should we charge $6.50 or $7? And I'm thinking, can we really charge $7 for a drink?
Wow.
1998.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is today, but I bet you it's a little more than $7.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I'm going to say the $7 is probably just a tax in the tip.
Yeah. Well, to the best of my knowledge, they're still making it just like this today, as we did in 1998 when we first mixed them.
Perfect for a 100-degree day as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, we should have done this up by the pool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we'll be right over. Let's delay for a few moments.
Yeah. You know what we should do, Mark? Next time I do one of those kid parties, we got to invite Tony over, you know?
That's right. Yes.
How old are the kids?
Yeah, exactly. I would make some margaritas at your last one, but I'm sure they're not as good as what Tony's drinking right now. I'm positive.
Of course. Yeah. You know what, Tony? My wife, Sonia, I don't know if you remember Sonia. She was in the food and beverage. I think you were gone already. But one thing I wanted to ask you, you probably can figure it out. Mark was there. It was at our wedding. And we had a drink that was created just for the wedding. And it was called the V-Teeny, okay? And I don't think it really had some crazy stuff in it. But all I remember, it was very sweet and very red. So I'm not sure what makes it very sweet and very red. But I know that, I don't know if you remember that one, Mark, but it was in like the ice sculpture that was V, and it came through the V down on the bottom. It was very, very sweet. So I'm not sure what makes things sweet, but we could never figure out what was in it.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of your wedding, to be honest with you. The arrival, and that was about it. It was downhill from there.
Too many bikinis.
Yeah. No, but Tony, with what you've done, I know that you have a wear store or wear website, you know, that you have now, right? Did you actually offer different bar equipment? Am I correct?
Yeah, no. Jimmy, I came to the conclusion years ago that there was a real shortage of high quality professional bar tools that were designed by someone who worked behind the bar, that were meant to work together. So 8 years ago, I started designing my own line of bar tools. It started with this lime squeezer because I like I said, even at Bellagio, I insist hand squeezed a la minute lime juice. And then it led to doing spoons and shakers and strainers. And so I have the Modern Mixologist professional line of bar tools, but they're all designed by me, all little touches that I couldn't find in existing tools, barware, that I thought were important in high quality bar tools. And again, they're all designed to work together. So that was a big project, getting that launched. Partner with Steel Light International. If anyone is in need of restocking their bar with some quality bar tools, and you mentioned the Jimmy V show, we'll give you 15% off on all your stuff.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Check that out.
That's pretty awesome. So we've talked about Bellagio in 1998, and we're talking about now with your with all the amazing equipment that you have. Can you kind of fill in the gaps of how you got from one to the other? Because there's a few years in between, and just Jimmy and I have our own companies and brands ourselves, and someone like you is someone that we would love to learn from a little bit.
Well, it's amazing that 22 years have gone by, Mark. It seems like yesterday that we all opened Bellagio together, and what an amazing experience. I've never, all the wonderful things that I've been blessed to be part of, opening a Bellagio has to reign at a high level. Just the people, the property itself, we were making 25,000 drinks a day in 29 bars. It was just nothing like I could have ever prepared myself for. But I mean, that was just a fantastic experience. When I originally took the job, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this, but I thought I'd stay in Las Vegas maybe 2 years and then go back to San Francisco. That was 22 years ago, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. But I stayed on at Bellagio till December of 2003 when I formed the Modern Mixologist, and really wanted to help spread the message to a broader market, nationally and internationally. So I formed my consulting company and traveled around the world preaching the gospel of not only bartending, the craft, but of hospitality, because making a great drink is one thing, but really entertaining our guests and providing that sense and art of hospitality is the crux of what we do. You know, when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I said, well, hopefully I put smiles on faces. You know, I've always said, you know, your job is to make a great drink, but what your job really is to make your guest day better when they leave than when they first walked in. So I've been very, very lucky to do that. I've written a couple books since then, and during this downtime, I've been trying to finish my third book, which hopefully will be out at the end of 2021. So I'm very, very excited about that. And as we all know, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders coming to town.
Yeah.
And
are you a Raiders fan, or who's your team you root for? The 49ers?
I am a Detroit Lions fan.
Hey,
Right.
you know what? Don't knock that. They got a good team. They just got to get it together a little bit.
Well,
You know,
I see that the owner, Ms. Ford, stepped down, and her daughter's stepping up as the owner of the team. So keeping it in the family. They do have a good team. If they could just fire on all cylinders for 16 games, I mean, it would be possible to see them in a Super Bowl one day. But but I do love the Raiders, and I work with Levy Restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the great opportunity and pleasure and honor, really, of doing a fresh drink program for the Raiders.
Wow.
that's
So-
excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, fingers crossed that we get through this and we actually have football with fans to drink the drinks. But yeah, we'll be doing the drink program for the Raiders.
Great. So is that going to be on a large scale, or do you have one bar in particular that you're focusing on, or do you have the whole place in general?
We have the whole place in general.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you thought Bellagio was a big deal 22 years ago, right?
It is daunting, but you know, we break it down by bar to bar and style of bar. But certain drinks like our Scratch Margarita will be property wide, so you'll be able to get a fresh, handcrafted margarita with premium tequila, Cointreau, and fresh juices at the stadium. So I always say, you know, if you give somebody a crappy margarita, they might drink half of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them a great margarita, they might have 3 of them during the course of the game. And it just elevates the overall experience.
Yes. And I know that you're also doing, you have a bar at the ballpark as well, the Las Vegas ballpark.
We did the opening season out at Las Vegas for the Aviators. Yep. That was fun. Fresh scratch margaritas everywhere. You know, it's just a baseball game with a hot dog and a great margarita is to me is a lot easier to sit through 9 innings when I'm, you know, got something like this in my hand.
I'm a big baseball fan, and that's one of my favorite things is sitting outside and having a drink and a hot dog, watching baseball for sure. So
that's Mark. You should be having one of these. I mean,
I know. It wasn't properly arranged, I guess, huh? But you know, give me your address later, and you know, I can be over very, very shortly. I don't know how you and I'll be right now. So.
Well, you know, Tony, you could always come over again, and we can always, you know, we could always do something special. You know what I mean? We can always create something special next time. You know, we're open for anything. You know, it's the way.
Let me ask you this, Jimmy. What are you hearing about the hockey finals, the Stanley Cup playoffs? Are we on? Are we off?
Well, basically what they're doing now is they're determining where it's going to be held. Of course, they want to do no fans, which is kind of, you know, hard to think of, but it's going to happen. And Las Vegas is, I would say, probably 90 to 95% going to be one of the hub cities.
Okay.
Because we do have the hotels. You know, I guess it's all going to depend how far we open up as well. You know, but that's where we're at. And I think they're also considering 2 towns, if I'm not, or cities in Canada to host the Eastern version. So we have to see, but, you know, they're trying to determine, does the Golden Knights play here? When they play, are they going to have a home advantage, you know, but there's no fans. So I don't know how they're going to do that. There's a lot of thought in that. And, of course, everything is different. I know baseball is going through craziness too.
Yeah, they just decided yesterday or this morning that they're going to have a 60-game schedule, and the logistics haven't been finalized yet, but they're coming close to the end of the day that their spring training has got to start within 7 days. And if they want to get a season in, they have to do it now, or else they'll miss out on the whole thing and see what happens next year. So, and then the NBA is going to play their games in Orlando. And, I know right before the show, we were talking about all the uptick down in Florida. So that's going to be, I was listening to sports radio today. That'll be really interesting because they just want everyone down in Orlando, and they're going to close it off, and everyone's going to play down there, a shortened season and playoffs. So we'll see how that wraps out too. So,
and, getting back to the hockey, Tony, what they also said is because of this situation, it's going to affect not only the playoffs, but it's also going to affect next season.
Sure.
So there's a lot up in the air with the sports in this town, and we're a big sports town now.
We are a big sports town.
One of the majors.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I also do the drinks over at T-Mobile Arena. So
wow.
I do the Behold the Gold and Defend the Fortress, two of my signature drinks for the Golden Knights, along with the Atomic Fizz. And we'll be serving those. We're going to be opening up Libertine Social at Mandalay Bay on July 3rd. So we're going to be open there to start with. My understanding is Friday, Saturday, Sundays. Obviously, social distancing in place, and hopefully people will wear their masks and be, cautious and, to each other. But we'll be serving those drinks just like we would at T-Mobile over at the restaurant. So if you want to stop by, we've got a lot of TVs. We'll spread everything out, and we'll cheer on our Golden Knights.
That's awesome. I bet they're not 650 at the stadium, are they?
Those days, I'm afraid, Mark, are long gone.
Yeah. I know. Aren't they doing now in the casinos that the little lights light up and how many people drink? It depends on that. If you get your free drinks or not, something like that. I'm not too sure, but I remember hearing that before all this pandemic. They're like, you go and sit down and play at a machine at one of the casinos, or maybe all the casinos, and the little lights light up, red, green, or something that tells you how much you've played, and that determines what drink. I'm trying to remember. I remember what organization was doing that, but I know it was going to happen. And, things always change when something major happens, and it's – and
sure.
We're in the middle of this, but, as Jennifer said last week, which made a lot of sense, she thinks of everything as the glass half full and
sure.
like a new beginning, so makes sense.
We have to look at it that way, Jimmy. We're in the midst of this. We have to look at the glass being half full, like Jennifer said. And I've personally done that. I've taken time for myself. I've reflected. I've recharged. It's the first time in over 20 years I haven't been on a plane 3 times a month. And, I'm spending time with my dogs at home, getting projects done. And, like I said, hopefully in our lifetime, we'll never experience anything like this again. So, it's on you every day. You're hearing about it. You're reading about it. It's on TV, and it taxes you. So, step back, smell the roses, take a deep breath, go outside, enjoy the beautiful weather, and go for a bike ride, and make the best of it. Whip up a Primo margarita or two for your loved one.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Tony, let me ask you a question. During all this time, so I know that a lot of people have been spending time at home, so they've been drinking at home, and I know liquor sales are about 250 to 300% up. How do you think that's going to affect what once everybody comes out? Are people going to become more educated in spirits now? Have you seen an uptick in your books coming through so people can mix drinks at home? What are going to be new trends coming out of this? What are you going to see after all these people drinking at home for so much over the past? I know their drinks now, they're going to go to their local bar. Their drinks are going to be very very weak as opposed to what they were pouring at home for the past 3 months. So that'll be a big thing. But just picking your brain, what kind of how do you think we're going to get out of this in your industry?
Well, great question, Mark. Thank you. I'm been a big advocate of making better drinks at home. I have a show that I've been doing online called Making Great Cocktails at Home, and breaking down the myths around mixology and showing you how easy it is with the right tools and spirits and glassware and ice to make really wonderful drinks like this at home. And I think this has allowed people the time to be able to experiment more at home. I hope they're working. I mean, because I know our bar tool sales have been up. We've been selling tools in the last 3 months, so people are definitely stocking their bars with the proper tools. I've been doing a lot of these type of Zoom meetings for companies and individuals and myself. People love making drinks, and it's sharing that experience with your friends at home. And people are probably looking at the money they're spending too. I'm not rushing out to spend $18 and $20 on a margarita right now. Not that I don't love that, but I just, like everyone else, I'm kind of watching what I'm spending right now because I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future. But I think the one thing that we miss from that equation is what I started with, and how important that art of hospitality is. Mm-hmm. People go to bars for a lot of different reasons, and the drink is part of that, but the overall experience, I think, is more. My dear friend Dale DeGroff once said, mm-hmm. I don't go to bars, I go to bartenders. Mm-hmm. And that to me is that experience can't be recreated the same way at home. Mm-hmm. I can probably make a margarita as well as most bars will make here at home, but then I just have to talk to myself, and that's no fun. But yeah. I think that's going to be the one element I think that really will bring people back in, and hopefully, as like I said, when we get through this, because bars are social places, mm-hmm. they're not meant to be 6 feet apart with people wearing screens. I know what we have to do now, but hopefully we will return to that social, friendly, welcoming, smile, hug, handshake environment that we all love.
And I'm glad you're saying that, Tony, because, a lot of people are looking at things in a different way. Well, let's go to virtual bartending. Well, now you're going to lose exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean? And, maybe it's a good instructional tool. Yeah. But when you go to a casino and see like, hey, here's because there's some casinos now that have the virtual dealer. You know what I mean? But you're losing that aspect of communication and personality and that kind of deal. And I know that there's some casinos out there now that gone to some type of machine, like in the service bars that actually pour the drink. And to me, I've been on I see it from forget the health inspector point of view. I see it as a person on the outside looking in, and I'm saying, wait a second, jobs are disappearing. But then, people were actually mixing the drinks before. I mean, what do you, even you, Mark, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I'd like to know if the machines, the service machines in the back of the Bellagio service well are actually pressing the lemons and limes like you showed us 22 years ago. I'm going to be hard pressed to believe that's happening back there. But that's one thing that we definitely teach at RHI. And Jimmy, you and I have already done 4 or 5 classes together in the past few weeks, and it's all about creating that customer experience. And you can go and get, the same bottle of wine or the same, Lagunitas IPA everywhere. But, I've heard that before, Tony, what Mr. DeGroff said, and you repeated that you don't go somewhere to go have a drink, because in essence, you can get the same drink everywhere, right? Yeah. But you're going to go visit the bartender and you're telling stories. And I actually, I'm lucky enough that I'm in the network of UNLV, and I did a sake seminar with UNLV virtually last Saturday. And that was the first thing I said in my class. And I'm like, we'll talk about sake. We'll talk about how it's made, how it's polished. But at the end of the day, if you can't communicate this to your guests and create a story and create some fun and some interaction, it makes no difference. If you're otherwise you're just serving them a drink and let them get drunk. We can do that at home and talk on Zoom, right?
But I think this is the future, at least for the near future. I think everything that's been presented to me alludes and makes me believe that we're going to be doing more of this type of interaction. That it'll be Zoom, it'll be virtual meetings, and one thing that we do with our company is we'll put together a little cocktail kit. So I will send you the experience and a shopping list, but you'll get all the tools and garnishes in the kit, recipes. Then you'll fill in the blanks with spirits and citrus, and then we'll get together and we'll spend an hour and we'll make 3 drinks and hopefully entertain you a little bit and tell some stories and maybe a joke or two. And it's not like everyone being in the room together, but you can still kind of, because everywhere I looked, people, it wasn't just a person, it was a couple, or they had invited another couple and they were having a little interactive cocktail moment. And it was really neat to watch. But as Jimmy said, there's no, and what I had missed the most about consulting was that guest experience across the bar. You know, that cannot be recreated.
Right. I guess just consider us old school.
Old school, always. Cheers to that.
Wow. I mean, you're a guest beyond comprehension. I really appreciate it. You know, and Mark always has a question, and I always put him up to this at the end. I'll let Mark ask the question for you. It's a real cool question, and you know, everybody has their own insight how to answer it, and it's really fun. Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Well, first of all, I actually want to do one thing. Is I found the other day my original Bellagio ID card.
Oh wow!
So I want to share it, and you know, it's like a before and after picture too, right? So let's see how much it actually changed.
There it is. I remember.
Oh wow!
There it is, right there. So
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to balance around all that. So I still remember my employee number. So that was kind of funny, and it's faded over the years. You know, and a couple good thing it doesn't have the weight on here, because it definitely would be different what before and after, you know, over the past 22 years. So, but anyway, Tony, you know, like we all have some Las Vegas ties. All of us are talking about Las Vegas right now, you know, especially you being behind the bar. We all kind of have a Las Vegas story or two to share to public and share to each other that you would not believe existed or was a real story unless you actually worked here or lived here or experienced it yourself. So, you know, maybe one that's suitable for the air, and we don't know who's watching, but can you give us a nice Las Vegas story? And it doesn't have to be professional. Maybe it's a personal one. Maybe you went out and you won $100,000 one night. You know, we're not the IRS. We're not hunting you down either. But let's hear a good Las Vegas story.
There you go.
I'm still waiting for that $100,000 to come in. One good story. It's hard for me to narrow it down. I mean, from the opening of Bellagio and standing in front of 300 bartenders, and I get excited, and I'm up, and I'm just getting them all excited about what we're going to do here in Las Vegas. And I said, and we're going to make the best fucking drinks in Las Vegas.
There you go.
and everybody, woo!
Yeah.
Hi. And Art Pepper, Art, Jimmy, Mark, Art. He comes up afterwards and he says to me, Tony, that was really, really good, really motivational. You got everybody excited, but I'm like, what is it? Mark, go ahead, tell me, Art. He said, well, you really shouldn't say fuck. I said, all right, last time I'll do that. But, having the opportunity to partner with Sean McLean and be on Iron Chef America, and then years later, open Libertine Social together was amazing. Watching our Golden Knights in the inaugural season make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and getting to make the playoff drink for them was amazing. But one of the most memorable things, and you were talking about the service bars, this would have been about just before I left Bellagio, and a career bartender was working in the service bar, and I was doing my rounds, and I stopped in to say hi, and he almost started crying, and he looked me in the face and said, Tony, I've been bartending in this town for 30 years, and you gave us our profession back. And now I'm going to start crying. But that meant probably more to me than any of the other accomplishments that in my career, because that was really the goal, was to elevate the profession. And for someone who'd been doing it that long, to say that to me, like I said, meant more than a black chip in the tip bucket. But there's been so many great moments, and I've been so blessed. And Las Vegas has been so very welcoming and good to me. And I'm proud to be, the founding member with Francesco Lafranconi of the USBG, the second chapter, established here in 2001. And just the way the community has grown and embraced one another. And it truly is the hospitality family of Las Vegas is a family. And again, I'm honored, humbled, and proud to be a small part of it. So here's happiness.
Cheers.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you're phenomenal. You're a member of the Jimmy V Live family now. So, you're coming back. well, you definitely. I mean, I really, really, and I know on behalf of Mark, I know we really, really appreciate your time, and I know you're a busy guy and you have a lot going on. And I only wish you the absolute success going forward. I'll keep in touch with you, more often, like we spoke off the air, and you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Mark, Jimmy V, and you got a date, Libertine Social. Go Knights.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Next time we have him on, we're not going to be on Zoom like this. We're going to be standing right next to him on both sides, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to have to do something legit. You know what I mean? We'll make it more legit,
We'll make
All
some
right, guys.
behold the gold.
Take care, Tony. Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Tony. Congratulations on all the success, Tony. Thanks.
Absolutely. Bye-bye, sir.
Take care.
Hey, Mark. That was cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I liked it. Hey, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. We're gonna keep going, man. We're gonna keep going because I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Everybody, I want to push you down there. You can see Mark's information down there. I know we spoke in the beginning of that we have our services too. We're there. We're help. We can help with compliance. We can help with hospitality. We're there for everybody. Please don't hesitate to give us a call. If you guys are on YouTube, like this, because we're going to keep moving forward with all the different types of aspects of the food and beverage world and all the guests. And I thank everyone for watching. Absolutely.
Can I give one more plug, Jimmy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, because today and tomorrow are the last days. RHI put some items for a silent auction on the St. Jude's Ranch for Children wine, women, and shoes event. And it's been going on for the week, and now are the last couple days. Right now, you can get a personal wine class, custom wine class with me. For a group of up to 10 people. We have that on the silent auction. We also have groups. We've worked with another local distributor in town, Breakthrough Beverage, and they've donated some wine. So we have French wines, killer deals that you won't find with different vintages anywhere. We were lucky to get these. And actually, I'm surprised that they all made it to the silent auction because they were at my house at one time or another, but I had to, pass them along. And then, Jimmy, I think we spoke a little bit about this. I'm also starting another new concept, RHI, with a group called Casino Quest, and it's another dealing school here in town. And we're going to be doing some gambling and wine education simultaneously called Wines and Wagers. And that's a new concept that we're going to be starting within the next month. But you can buy a silent auction ticket for it right now, and we'll have them up and going. And we're going to be doing beer ones, wine ones, and you get to learn every single table game under the sun: Pie Gal, Blackjack, Craps. My good friend Alex Kim over at CEG and Casino Quest.
And you have that you have all that information on your website.
Everything's on my website except for the St. Jude's event. That's not really my thing. We donated the stuff to it. However, if you go to my Facebook and Instagram pages, RHI, it has all the links. It has everything on there. If you tinker around on Facebook and on Instagram, you'll find the links to everything that I'm talking about.
Perfect. No problem. And all those of you who know me, the services are there. You know that I never advertise. You guys come to me when you need me. I'm out there. jvcfoodsafety.net. The phone number, it's going across the screen. I should do a commercial, 702-412-3333. But with that said, we're going to end it, guys. And next week, we got another phenomenal guest. And I'll give you that little bit of a tease a little bit later on. And I just want everyone to know, thank you again for watching us. And we're here for you. Mark, have a great week, and I'll talk to you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tony, if you're still listening. Talk to you next week.
All right, you got it. Bye-bye.